All right, new data coming in. We've got winter weather advisories out. The ice looks like it's taking shape across parts of Iowa and Nebraska, even parts of South Dakota, and as far east as parts of Illinois. We'll look into that and up into Wisconsin, too. I think you got to watch this. And then we're also watching some of the new model data that's coming in. So we're going to get into all of that. Let's start with these winter weather advisories here across, again, those states we just talked about, Iowa, back into parts of Nebraska, even the very far quarters here of parts of Minnesota, down into South Dakota, and then up here into the northern counties here along the Missouri-Iowa border. Now, the potential for some freezing rain is going to happen because we're going to see this upper low here back to the west move across. It's going to bring some warmer air in aloft. At the surface, we've got some cold air. We're going to show you how that's getting reinforced in just a second. And then that heads east, and we're watching it to see what happens as it moves toward the Great Lakes. And then our next system takes shape. It's also dropping a lot of rain and snow across the west. We've got the rain showers coming into Texas heading into Friday. It's moving north into a very cold air mass. And then we'll start to see some freezing rain possible heading into Friday afternoon into parts of Kansas. This isn't going to last as long as your neighbors to the north. You're likely going to start to shift over to some rain. It may take a little while, and you may actually stay freezing rain very close to that Nebraska border. But now as we head into the overnight Friday night, that moisture moving north, maybe cold enough here on the northwest side for just some snow, some sleet to the north side, and then you transition to freezing rain as that layer of cold air gets more shallow, closer to the warm air, and then just rain now across northeast Kansas with some freezing rain possible on the western side of it. As we move into the overnight hours, 2, 3, 4 a.m., that freezing rain moves east towards Des Moines. It moves north too, at least the precipitation does, and it may be deep enough, the cold air may be deep enough rather, across Minnesota to see all snow, at least across, I think, the Twin Cities. But watch out down here toward Rochester. We may have some sleet and some freezing rain to start, and then we'll go back over to snow as our cold air really starts to develop in, and our area of low pressure starts to develop. And we'll see the dynamic cooling, and we'll probably get rid of that warm nose, which is causing this pesky freezing rain. As we get into the early morning hours Saturday, this could be really tricky here across parts of central and eastern Iowa with the freezing rain going here. And some of that may spread into parts of Illinois, and that could cause some freezing rain here too. Most of the ice will be confined here to southern Wisconsin after it moves out of Iowa. We actually warm up across southern Iowa to see things transition over to just rain showers, and then the rain continues to move east. And we're talking about all rain here from Chicago south down into Illinois, Indiana, all the way into the deep south toward Mississippi, Alabama. The rain showers moving east, and here comes our next storm with snow across the west. Let's dive into these details across Iowa, also across Nebraska, because I want to show you something. This is really interesting. These are Celsius temperatures, okay? So these are numbers. You go up at about 850 millibars. So get up in the atmosphere a little bit off the ground, a couple thousand feet. This is your freezing line up here into really parts of Minnesota and a few degrees above zero here, right? This is Celsius. I'm showing you this because I want you to remember we're a little bit above freezing a couple of thousand feet up. At the surface, look at our temperatures in the 20s, upper 20s to low 20s. It's cold enough that we're going to see that freezing rain. So as that precipitation, which likely would fall with snowflakes, falls through that layer of warm air, they'll either partially melt, then refreeze back into a sleet pellet, or they may completely melt and then turn into a raindrop and then strike that surface, which is really cold. And look at this. As we head into, I'm going to back it up and show you Friday morning's lows in the single digits to below zero up here in Minnesota. So the surfaces are really cold. So even as we warm our temperatures up, I mean, this would be Friday afternoon, likely not getting out of the teens and lower 20s. So those items aren't going to warm up. Things like the roads, the sidewalks, elevated surfaces, they're going to be cold. So even if you do creep slightly even above freezing here, I think you got to be careful because I've seen it get above freezing, 35, 36. Those surfaces are still very cold, and you could get some really slick conditions. It could be treacherous heading into Friday night into Saturday morning with those temperatures pretty chilly. Back across Nebraska, same thing here too. Early Friday morning, we're cold. Temperatures heading into the afternoon with this east-northeast flow, not warming up very much, or at least the cold air being reinforced here. And then temperatures as we head into Saturday, they do start to warm up some. I mean, we're talking about into the 30s here, maybe 20 stuck up here across the South Dakota border. Then we cool back down and temperatures go down. Now, here's the snow outlook. I think if we see snow, looks most likely across Wisconsin, 2 to 4 inches, I think here. Looks like snow from Green Bay north and northwest of that over toward Minneapolis and St. Paul. But some of this here will be sleet. Some of it will be freezing rain. If you get that, your snow totals will be chewed into because you won't get the fluff of the snow. There's your ice outlook. Again, watch out here across parts of northern Kansas. There could be some light precipitation here that accumulates or accretes. So we talk about freezing rain. And then here in eastern Nebraska, let's move northeast of that into Iowa. You can see up to a tenth, maybe even 2/10 of an inch of ice possible. That extends, I think, into parts of Minnesota, although we will likely be mostly snow here. And then beyond this, watch out over here into Wisconsin. I think most of it goes over to snow. It's one of the reasons the models aren't picking up on a lot of freezing rain. Still something to watch. Another place to watch as we head into the weekend, as we move into Saturday, that's the same system moving through the Tennessee Valley into Kentucky and Tennessee. It's going to bring the rain into Nashville, but up here in the mountains of North Carolina, there could be some cold air that gets trapped into some of the valleys early Sunday morning. I mean, this is a perfect time of day to get that freezing rain in this part of the world. You got high pressure up here to the northeast, wedging in that cold air out of the east and northeast here into parts of the Blue Ridge Mountains up against the face of the mountains. Watch out into the New River Valley, north into the Greenbrier Valley, and then as you head north up into the Shenandoah Valley, we could see some ice up into this region, into the eastern mountains of West Virginia, down in those valleys where that cold air gets trapped. It's one of those situations where it takes a little while for that warm air to move in and just sort of scour out that cold air. I think eventually it happens, and now we're wet heading into Monday in this part of the world, with more rain showers moving in heading into Monday and Tuesday, with the front getting closer. A little bit further to the north and east, this same system is going to be a problem here too. There's that ice and sleet and freezing rain and snow down here in the mountains of West Virginia and Virginia, also western Maryland. Now we're looking at the central PA. We may start out as a little bit of snow here in the northeast PA, down into Philadelphia, though. I think it's all rain here. Back to your north and west, that's where the mixed precip will be, and eventually it will warm up here for all rain. It'll take a little while, but eventually we'll see that. Let's take a look at the global models and where our next snowstorm is trying to shape up. First, we got our big storm across the west. This is going to drop a just tremendous amount of snow here into the mountains, feet and feet of snow over the next couple of days. You've got this storm moving in. It's going to go into the Sierra, more snow into the Intermountain West too. We're also dumping the snow up here into western Canada too, into the mountains of British Columbia, and another storm right on that one's heels. I mean, it's almost like we don't get a break, and then another one behind that one. So very active weather continuing across the west with your snow totals just phenomenal here. So ski season certainly off to a good start heading into December. Here's a look at the national forecast. We're going to sort of break it down by the entire country here. So find where you are on the map. Into Friday, we've got that ice we've talked about. There's your snow across the west. Quiet in the east. High pressure here. This is Arctic high pressure. Cold, dry, sunny skies. It's going to be chilly, though, still. Another day of cold air, and then we start to see that get modified as high pressure moves off to the east and warm air moves in to the north. Now, back here, this trough here will start to swing through the Rockies. I'm going to try to draw it out here a little bit. It's going to bring some snow into the mountains of Montana, also Wyoming and Idaho, and up here into Alberta, we're going to see some snow, too. Most of that, though, into the mountains, and then Saskatchewan and Manitoba, we'll likely see some snow out of this as low pressure deepens. You know, it looked like earlier in the week we were going to see this maybe a little further south and then right up. I don't think that's going to happen, so most of the snow now confined up here into Canada, and then right along the U.S.-Canadian border. Northern parts of Minnesota will probably see some snow out of this. And then as this heads east, watch out into Ontario. Some of this starts to really pick up as our low pressure deepens as it heads toward the Hudson Bay. Some wind here, some snow across the lower 48. We're looking, well, a little warm, a little too warm for any type of snow. There may be a little bit of mixed precip in the northeast, and then our cold front moves through, high pressure builds in, and we start to dry out. And now we're watching this piece of energy across the west that could be our next storm. All right, so we're just watching these pieces of energy. This is the European from this afternoon. This would be Thursday afternoon. I'm getting my days mixed up here. It shows some snow here into parts of Michigan, back into Wisconsin, Illinois, moving into parts of southern Ontario. That would give you a heavy dump of snow into parts of really southern Ontario up to Montreal, even northern parts of New England, and then behind that, some cold air moving in with your rain to snow here across Pennsylvania, New York, West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky. Do I believe that? I don't, because now we're looking at next Thursday, so 1 week from today, with this weird cutoff low doing, I don't know what it's doing down here toward West Texas, putting some snow down. Again, I don't know that I believe that, because now it's trying to blow up a storm here off the southeast coast, put some snow in the northeast, into the northeast. That just looks weird to me. I'm not buying that. I'm going to pop over to the GFS. This is the 18Z run, sort of an odd run. Everything so far lining up all the way through Monday and Tuesday. Not much change from what I've showed you. The difference might be as we head into Wednesday and Thursday with the way the models are handling this trough. So what you don't see is that cutoff low over West Texas, right? Dropping that weird snow. But everything kind of looks similar here with this moving to the east, sort of an antifront setup where you get your cold front moving through, a little bit of moisture riding through with that trough, and that's going to cause a quick shift to some snow on the backside of it, almost like what we just saw. At least that's what the latest GFS is trying to print out for the 19th and the 20th. That would put some snow into the northeast, lake effect snow again, snow showers. Then look at this, cold and dry, no winter storms for the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. This is Arctic high pressure building in, bit of an easterly flow here, and now it's going to snow in Texas. Yeah, right. I don't know about that. Oh my gosh. Hey, you know what though? I don't know if you remember or not. Many years ago, it was around Christmas, right? We got some big snows down here. I feel like it was near Corpus Christi, down all the way into South Texas. We had some onshore flow like this when we had a surprise Christmas snow. Man, I don't know that we're going to see that heading into the 22nd, 23rd. I want to show you this time period because I want to flip back. Had someone comment, have you seen the newest 12Z run, which is just burying the Northeast with some snow around the 21st? Well, I mean, look, do I think that's going to happen? That looks drastically different than what I just showed you, right? I will say the 12Z GFS does use some data. I'd probably trust it a little more, but do I trust it now looking out almost 10, 11 days? I don't know. I absolutely do not. If it's still there in day 7, day 6, we'll start talking about it. So if you like this stuff, hope you'll come back, subscribe, and that's how you can keep this stuff coming into your feed. I appreciate all of you who have done so. I'll see you next time.